Back to the daily grind, and shout out to the full-time patrons. Make sure to hit subscribe if you're new and hit thumbs up if you're not a baby back bagel biting bitch boy, cause you know what time it is. It's full time.
MMA.
Unconfirmed reports are saying Max Holloway's concussion-like symptoms might be the signs of a mini stroke. Now, while these reports are unconfirmed, we've also heard reports, even earlier today, that Max Holloway was knocked out in training before this fight. So keep in mind there's been multiple, and we even heard something about water poisoning, to be fair. Now, the water poisoning thing also had to do with weight cutting though, but I believe that was actually from Dana White. He said there's a thing called water poisoning. You know, some guys water load to cut weight, drink a bunch of water, then they sweat it out. That's why guys are always, you know, in the sauna, and girls cutting weight. But he says if you drink actually too much water, you can get water poisoning. And so whenever people are trying to cut a lot of weight or a lot of water weight, so they're trying to water load, if you do too much water loading, you can fuck around and get some water poisoning. And so Dana White alluded to maybe that being a possibility, but that's still a weight cutting issue. Now, with that being said, out of all these reports, I'm gonna be honest, from what I saw, I think there might be something to the mini stroke. And now those reports are unconfirmed. Brendan Schaub spoke about it on his podcast. He said that the doctor said that the champ's concussion-like symptoms could be the signs of a mini stroke. This is what he had to say. But I heard when he was cutting weight, I heard it got really scary. I heard it got so scary where a doctor was like, you know, this could be the sign of a small fucking, not a heart attack, but a stroke. And with that being said, man, I know my grandma had a stroke before she passed away. You know, R.I.P. grandma. And she, after she did, that's kind of what it reminded me of. And she kind of had like a little bit of a droop to her face, and I couldn't put my finger on it when I saw that in Max Holloway's interview. But when you look at the picture, and he was slurring his words on top of that. Now, if it was just a concussion, right? If he just got knocked out, when would that have had to have happened for him to have these type of symptoms? The day before, the week before? Usually concussion-like symptoms are like come over time, right? After you've been getting in slugfest and knocked out for years, then you start to see the signs gradually. Now, a mini stroke, on the other hand, you might see those effects immediately. Actually, to do research for this video, a little bit of Googling, dare I say, this is what I came up with. Here's some symptoms that come suddenly and without warning and could signify a stroke. FAST is the abbreviation to help you recognize some of the common stroke symptoms. F is for face. If you notice a droop or an uneven smile in a person's face, this is a warning sign. On a person's face, this is a warning sign. Check this out. Now, you could say Max Holloway definitely had a little bit of an uneven smile or a droop there. That's two different pictures, and I feel like I see a little bit of an uneven smile and a droop on the right side, to be specific. Also, A is for arms. We didn't get to see Max Holloway raise his arms over his head, so we have to skip that one. S is for speech difficulty. We did see this in Max Holloway in his interviews leading up to the fight. Even guys on the sports desk like Michael Bisping asked him, and it was good looking out. Max Holloway reached afterward and said, yo, good looking out, man. Because whenever he was interviewing Max Holloway, Michael Bisping asked, hey, man, are you all right? Like, you know, you don't really seem to be all there, man. Are you okay? And so after Michael Bisping did that, Max Holloway came out and thanked him in private. And he was like, yo, man. And Michael Bisping revealed this on his podcast. Max Holloway thanked him like, hey, thanks. That was, you know, you're a champion. Respect. Thank you for calling me on that. He was actually happy that Michael Bisping did that. So with that being said, man, this mini stroke, and whenever I was a little, I don't want to say scared, you know, not like some bitch shit, like, oh man, poor Max Holloway. But I was a little concerned. That's the word, not scared. I couldn't think of the word, concerned. I was concerned when I saw Max Holloway's symptoms. And you know what I'm saying? And one of the things I thought about, like on the concussion tip, like, if it was from a concussion that even happened recently, I haven't been around enough concussions, but I'll just give you my thoughts on this, so maybe one of you guys can tell me in the comments, right? I have seen a lot of fighters that have probably been concussed leading up to their fights, right? We've seen how many UFC fights, how many lead-ups to fights, how many fighters interviewing before their fights. How many times have we ever saw this that we saw out of Max Holloway? I'm sure Max Holloway isn't the first fighter that probably got a concussion leading up to his fight. So why don't we see these symptoms of a drooped face, kind of, slurred vision more, or slurred speech more often if it was concussion symptoms. So I don't know about that concussion thing, and also it doesn't make a lot of sense. Who the fuck's gonna knock out the champion leading up to a fight camp? You know, Max Holloway, I have heard people say he's got some criticism for his hard sparring. It's definitely still a possibility, but in my mind, and just looking at some of the symptoms of strokes and the rarity of this, because we don't see it very often, when fighters probably get concussed, especially fighters training hard. This is a champion we're talking about, but there's fighters that are fighting to keep their job. They're probably training real hard before their fight, and we don't really ever see guys leading up looking like Max Holloway. So I think there might be something to these reports of the mini stroke. It might be something to do with this weight cutting, and if so, that could be really bad. I mean, there's people that say if this was a mini stroke, we could never see Max Holloway fight again for the safety of his health. And you would completely have to understand that. It would fucking completely suck. But this could be something serious. Hopefully it's not, man. Prayers up to Blessed. Let the full-time family know what you guys think in the comments about Max Holloway potentially having the signs of a mini stroke. I mean, he definitely had the signs, but we've had conflicting reports. What do you guys think? Do you think it's concussion-like symptoms, or do you think it might be the signs of a mini stroke, man? That could be concerning. Hey, it is what it is. Let the full-time family know what you think in the comments. And before we go, shout out to all the full-time MMA white belts that have hit the subscribe button. Also, make sure you hit the bell right next to it so you get notified every time I upload a new video. And this is the hardest working MMA channel on YouTube. We provide daily updates, predictions, betting advice. We do songs, we do fantasy fights. We've interviewed Aljamain Sterling, Sean O'Malley, Bruce Lechimedio, and Felony Charles Bennett, all in just 1 year as an MMA channel. We're one of the fastest growing MMA channels on the net, but we're still small, so make sure you guys go check out the Full-Time MMA Dojo if you want to learn how you can become a full-time MMA black belt. And while you're there, you can see where this MMA channel started from, some of the goals we have for the channel, and even more cool videos just like this one if you enjoyed it. So thanks again to all the full-time MMA white belts that have hit the subscribe button, and also if you're just lurking and this is your first time seeing a video, appreciate that as well. I'm out.
Da 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 da. It's the motherfucking DOJ.